Yes, guys, what is going on? Welcome back to the Inter Extra podcast. We are back once again, as you can see, Sean especially in international break spirit with the right kit to kind of describe what's currently going on. You know, it's international break, not really much going on in terms of club football, which is actually not that true. We'll talk about it later when it comes to Inter. But it's international break, and it's another episode of the Inter Extra podcast. Sean, how you doing, bro?
I'm good. I'm good. Um, you know, Inter's is it's always Pazza Inter, so I
Yeah,
take these breaks when we can get them, even though, and we'll discuss it later, even though this isn't the best time to have an international break. But
no.
we move. I'm doing good. How about you?
Yeah, I'm doing well, man. It's good to be another episode, guys. If you're watching us on YouTube, as per usual, obviously make sure you like, subscribe, comment, whatever you wanna talk about, what we discuss in the podcast. If you're watching us on YouTube, you will see me looking at this screen, which is the screen on my right, because at the moment, and we'll talk about it later, USA under 20 are playing as Italy under 20, and we have two of our youngsters playing in that game as of right now. The second half just kicked off. And it is obviously Mattia Mosconi and Jamal Idrisu who both start. So if you see me keeping an eye on it, that's what I'm looking at. But of course, we will also have a look at some tweets and whatnot. But also, if you're listening on Spotify, Amazon Music, or Apple Podcasts, make sure you give us a good rating. Make sure you share it with your friends, all that good stuff, fellow Interisti. And yeah, Sean,
And don't
I'll
forget to turn on your notifications.
thank you. You
Turn on your
are
notifications for
thinking
all
ahead.
those.
Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah, so we'll get started. I will let you take everyone through the
Yeah.
last few games again, as per usual, and then we go from there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go over the all the games from this past weekend and past week actually. We did have a little bit of midweek action since the last time we posted, and then of course we have all of the other extra news that we have that is involved with Inter, and then some transfer news. So first, yeah, let's go through the women's games. So this last weekend, Saturday, they played their first Serie A game of the season. They played against Ternana. Um, that was a good win, good easy win. They won 5-0. Currently top the table, I believe, in Serie A, just
Lovely.
with the biggest goal difference. So stop the count. We're good
Stop the
there.
count.
Just end the season already. And then midweek they played another Europa Cup game. Again, if anybody knows a little bit more about how this tournament is set up, I did see something that was saying that these games are two-leg qualifiers to get into the round of 16. I don't know how that's working. It just sounds like it's a round of 32, but there's not 32 teams playing. So, whatever that is. Anyway, they won their first game against Vlasnia. If any Albanians want to correct me on my pronunciation there, I'm sure I butchered that. Um, but beat the Albanian club 7-0 in the first leg. So I would imagine that the next game is going to be pretty easy. Can put a little bit more focus on their
Tie's not
Serie A
over.
game.
Tie's not over, girls.
Yeah,
Stay locked in.
absolutely. Can't bottle it like the men's team does against some certain teams, but you know. Uh, yeah, and then so we are in international break on all the men's side.
Yes.
Um, so the Primavera squad played Lazio on Saturday. That is going to be their last game for the next 2 weeks, of course, just like the other two teams, the U23 and the senior squad. They lost to Lazio. I believe it was a 1-0 loss, which is that's two in a row for the Primavera squad. Yeah, it was a 1-0 loss.
Hmm.
Um, and then the Inter U23 team rescued a late draw with a second goal by Zubarek in I think the 93rd minute
It
for a
was the
2-2
96th
finish
minute.
against
It was the 96th
96th
minute.
minute.
I
Wow.
did watch that game. It was on Sunday, I believe.
Yep.
Very much just seemed like caught off guard for like 3 minutes of the game, and then got punished by two goals. towards the end of the first. I mean, literally at the end of the first half, because it was in the 43rd or 44th minute, and then 45+1. And you kind of wonder how, that happens. But then again, you need to remember this is a newly formed team. This is like, the inexperience kind of showing at times. Even if you just concede one, then you say, okay, let's bring the 1-1 draw into halftime. But yeah, it was a 2-2 draw in the end because Subarek came through. The pressure was too high, I think, for Hospitaletto at the end of the day to, hold on to the lead. Also because they got a red card eventually after a VAR check. In general, though, the performance was good. Apart from the 2 goals that they conceded, it wasn't actually much in terms of like that they let the opponents like shoot or create chances or whatever. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it did seem, especially in the highlights from Inter, and I think Serie C might have posted it, but I think I watched Inter's highlights. Yeah, a lot of the chances was the U23 team, and it was
yeah,
just the last 5 minutes of the first half, just everybody switched off, and
yeah,
it was a mistake at the back for for the 1-1, I believe, and then the 2-1 was a penalty, if I'm not
correct.
mistaken. Yeah,
No, the
and
other way around. 1-1 was a
was
penalty.
the penalty. Okay.
I think Cinquegrano gave it away.
Mhm.
It must have been, yeah, because he's right back. And then second goal, I think, was a mistake, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. But regardless, it was I know I messaged you guys and kind of made the joke of is the Ospitaletto team Inter's management, because they really seem to dislike Inter's U23 team. They said F them kids and cheered like it was they were winning a final or something again at that 2-1. It was funny. It was funny to watch,
Yeah.
but yeah, rescued the point, and that was yeah, I actually like that they were able to rescue a draw, kind of showing their grit.
Hmm.
Um, even though it was like an ugly goal, it wasn't a pretty goal, but still got the job
That's what
done.
you need in these type of games or in these type of moments.
Yeah. I mean, just imagine that this team is I mean, positioned well right now, still fourth in the table, get to the playoffs, and they are trying to rescue one of the rounds, and they needed a goal right before the game ends. I mean, we saw Acerbi do it against Barcelona in the Champions League last season. Sometimes being able to have that fight to get that draw in a game where you go to extra time or you can go to penalties, that's huge. So,
Yeah.
no, it was good mentality from them. And even though this is a new team, young team, it's good things to see.
Yeah, I agree.
Also, I would mention that since we don't really have to do much of a preview of the games this weekend since we're in the international break, I will mention the team was supposed to play on Saturday, but the U23 team has the majority of its team on international break. So they don't have enough players to play. So Serie C postponed their game this weekend on Saturday,
Yeah.
um, or on Sunday to the following weekend
Who's
or
the
following
opponents?
midweek.
Renate, right? I think is the
Yeah, Renate. Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
We'll get into the
so
international players, like who's missing. So it'll make sense when you see it.
yeah. Um, and then the senior squad. Um, yeah, they dominant performance this past weekend against Cremonese, 4-1 victory, which makes it 5 in a row for in all competitions for the guys team for the Nerazzurri. I gotta give me just a second, Simi. If you want to tell me, keep saying your thoughts, I'll be listening. But gotta grab something.
Yes,
Um,
for sure.
but yeah,
Yeah, guys, if you know me, I'm a big fan of the fact that Angion Boni and Pio Esposito are now the backup strikers. This has been a dream ever since basically, our backups weren't looking the best. He got 3 assists and 1 goal. Angion Boni. What a starting 11 debut. That was his first start. It honestly doesn't feel like it, but that was his first start, right? Guys, 3 assists and 1 goal speaks for itself, I think we don't really need to say much else in terms of his performance. whole team in general looked very, very confident. We're definitely starting to see the Kivu impact now. I feel like with also Uncle Sharma did a video on it. If you guys want to check it out, in terms of how his football is coming through now in this Inter team. Great video, great analysis. If you guys want to go and watch it, but I definitely feel like he's right. I feel like Kivu ball is slowly starting to show in this team, and again, it is just Cremonese, but we need to remember Cremonese had a great start to the season, so we didn't just play anyone. So this win
Yeah.
is definitely a great sign in terms of hopefully what's to come, but also the fact that Kivu is doing things that are slowly starting to show and are definitely working. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely. As you said, Boni, 3 assists, 1 goal, insane performance. I know there's no need to like beat the dead horse and attack a player that's not here anymore. This is not attacking a player, but for him to already in all competitions have more goals and assists than Taremi from last season
did you
is
ever see that?
insane.
Did you see the stat in Sharma's video where he said that Arnautovic, Correa, and Taremi at this point last season on the 8th of October 2025 2024 had 0 goals combined. Like,
Yeah, yeah, I
yeah,
did. That's absolutely crazy. It was one hell of a performance. And you know what? I honestly think, as you were saying, Kivu ball kind of starting to take effect. I think it benefits a player like Bonnie a lot. Someone who's quick, if you can get him on the ball like in an error and from the other opposing team with this high press, they're not keeping up with him with the ball. I mean, he's quicker than most defenders in Serie A, and
yeah,
so he gets it. And he only has 1 or 2 guys to beat once he gets that ball. I mean, we saw it with um, Fratesi winning the ball back. Barella looks up and sees Boni already running, and he doesn't even have to beat anybody. He's in behind. The whole Sassuolo or the Cremonese team is like at the halfway line. They have no idea what that just happened,
yeah.
and he's off, and he gives Lautaro an easy tap in. It was I I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. Um, and I think he's going to be at the center of this project, like this attack for a long time. I hope we can keep him for a long time.
Yeah, then we have a luxury
Because
issue. Yeah, like we're gonna have some.
yeah,
We have Pio as well still. Like this isn't compared to last season. Night and day, man. It's incredible.
yeah, yeah, and there's something I don't remember when I mentioned it. I can't remember who I was talking to, but I know again this isn't. I'm not trying to attack any players, but if you watch the way that Bonnie runs compared to the rest of the players or the rest of the strikers, really, when they run with the ball, the way that Bonnie runs is just more fluid and more dynamic, I think. Turam,
Yes,
his feet kind of slide on the ground and he's skating. That
skating is
allows him to
crazy.
yeah, it does. It look like his feet don't come
No,
off
I
the
know what you
ground too
mean.
much.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that lazy run.
Um,
Yeah,
but also that allows Turam to kind of fool defenders into thinking that the ball's gotten away from him and it hasn't. He just, he sticks out a leg and it brings it right back to him. I've heard people compare that to Pogba when he was at his best at Juve. The way that you just thought that the ball was away from Pogba and then he would just stick out his leg because he's 6'4", 6'5". He'd pull it right back in. But yeah, when Boney gets running with the ball, I'm just there's no way you're stopping him. Like you can't catch him, you're not stopping him.
yeah.
And yeah, the only way to stop him is a foul, and we saw a lot of that against Cremonese. Um, Another thing that I want to hear your thoughts on, especially, is we've always talked about the vice regista role,
Hmm.
and right now Hakan's in that position. Brozovic was in it before. We had to move Hakan back there to fill in for Brozovic, but we saw Barella there this game, and he put in a hell of a performance. What did you think of Barella there at the regista role?
I thought he was great. I thought he like long term. I think a lot of us share the same opinion. long term this is his position, especially once he reaches like 30, 31, 32, 33, and he's not going to be as his feet aren't going to be as quick anymore. I feel like Regista's definitely the long term role for Barella eventually. Um, that being said, he played way too much. He played the whole 90, and he's overplayed. I'm surprised he didn't collapse at the end of the game. Like, this
So
man has been playing like week in, week out, plus Champions League. The good thing is Çalhanoğlu didn't play. He got a rest. But the other player that needed a rest was Barella, and he didn't even get subbed off. That was my problem. I wanted Zielinski to start in the first place. And then I was like, Barella starts. Okay, cool. At least sub him out 55, 60 minutes into the game. He didn't. And so if he plays both matches with Italy, for which he probably will, because it's important games for the World Cup qualifiers, then we need to be careful because we have a lot of games coming up after the international break as well. That's
yeah,
a big concern for me. But he was
yeah,
great.
Kivu is
Sorry, I got off. I got
yeah, no, you're
sidetracked.
good.
But yeah,
Yeah, Kivu does have to figure out that rotation as well. I would imagine that he's gonna have to start playing Sucic um next to Hakan and Mkhitaryan maybe. Um, he can't play Fratesi with those other two.
no,
That's gonna be a midfield three of run and gun. You know, no, no, no tempo control with those three.
yeah,
Um, yeah, or Zielinski on the right, or maybe Mkhitaryan on the right, Zielinski on the left. Like whatever it is, whatever Kivu has to figure out there. But Barella does need to be able to rest so that he can let Hakan rest and let yeah, he's gonna have to figure out that rotation. Um, but the thing that I noticed as well with Barella playing there is I felt like he actually wasn't as exhausted playing that full 90 as I've seen him play other 90-minute games
yeah.
in the
Because I
last
don't
two
think it was
seasons.
as exhausting physically. I think that's the one
Mhm.
thing that was good about the game. Like, there's been worse games this season in terms of running, and
Mhm.
so I feel
He
like,
did run he ran 12 kilometers. I saw the stat at the end of the game, um, which was kind of surprising to me
hmm
but it makes sense because he was just moving around all the time. It's not like he was having to sprint and cover ground up and down the pitch in transition and things. He was just moving around, facilitating the ball, controlling tempo and things. It was 12 kilometers of Brozovic type movement, in my
yeah,
opinion, which was good to see him not like looking like he was about to pass out and huff and puff at the end of the game. Um, which I liked. Which brings me on nicely to another player
Federico Di
that
Marco.
yeah, that has given the debut boys their goals, honestly. So
Yeah,
this was Boni's full official Serie A debut. A full debut, of course, being for everyone that might not know that terminology is from the start. So Boni's played, but he hasn't played from the start before. So DiMarco gives him his assist,
yeah.
and then Boni returns the favor and gives DiMarco an assist. Um, right? Am I thinking of the right game? Hold on. I need to make sure I'm not embarrassing myself here.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
um, yes, he did. He did
Okay.
assisted DiMarco. Um, yeah, which was he also looks like he can run 90 minutes now. This is his fourth 90-minute game of the season,
I mean, we talked
which
about
I
his
think
quote last week, right? I think it's
mhm,
pretty. It's good to see that he's actually backing up that talk now. Yeah,
mhm. Yeah, and in the 85th minute, he's sprinting, intercepting a pass, and sprinting up the pitch.
I've never seen that before. Genuinely,
Yeah. Um,
from
which
Dimarco.
if
Yeah,
you guys go watch Uncle Sharma's video, I think he does mention the fact that we signed Jose Mourinho's fitness coach
the
this
guy
season.
from Roma. Yeah, I saw. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
which which could be a huge part of this, because Inzaghi's preparations for last season seemed to not be the right ones, and it affected the entire season. But right now, it's looking like these preparations with the new fitness coach is the right ones. So
I mean, we'll see
that's
how long this
huge.
lasts for, but yes, I think I am quite positive in terms of like not just in terms of injuries, but also in terms of endurance, because I think that kind of
Mhm.
goes hand in hand. So
Yeah. Yeah, you get most of your injuries when you're tired, when you're sore, when your body can't handle
yeah,
this pressure you're putting on it. So, yeah, it's up to Kivu to keep them healthy. The fitness coach can only do so much, but if you don't rotate, players are going to break down over a 50, 60 game season. But
yeah,
yeah, he was great. Um, Also, our captain opens up the scoring, which great. There's this stat. People say that he can't perform in big games. We saw some stats pop up on Twitter this last week of Lautaro actually over the last 5 seasons has the most goals and assists against the top 7 teams, like the Seven Sisters. I made the joke that he did, needed to add another one because he scored against Cremonese when they were in the top 7.
yes.
So,
We
but
take those. We take those.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, but these are the types of things that you want. You can't get a star player is not going to score a goal every time against a big team. You can't ask for that. It's not going to happen. Even Messi went games where he didn't score against certain clubs,
Yeah,
you know? But if you have your captain and one of the best players on your team scoring every time against the teams he's supposed to score against, that's awesome. That's where we want consistency. That's where we've gotten frustrated with Lautaro before. It's like for months, it's like you can't score against Cremonese. We've set you up with 10 chances. But
yeah,
he took this one. It was his first one came to him. He scored it. It was good. It was just a sign of things to come for this game. What'd you think?
yeah. That's what I said basically when you were gone for a second.
I didn't hear that. That was
It's
the one
fine.
part I
It's
didn't
it's
hear. My
good.
bad.
It's good signs, and compared to the end of August, like basically a month ago, the mood is completely switched. I feel like within the team, even within the whole dressing room, I feel like it's a different vibe. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I think I don't know if there's anybody else that you want to talk about
no, we can move on to
there.
the loanies
Well,
if
I
you want.
wanted to since you were talking about the vibes, I'll kind of switch a little bit over to our manager and the things that he said around this game
Yes,
this past weekend. Some funny things that he was mentioning, but the first one is it was after the game, I believe, and they asked him, "All right, well, DAZN asked, will you be watching the what should I call this? I'm not gonna say this on here, but the Juventus Milan match, the brothers, the two that love each other because they hate us. Yeah, will you be watching the Juventus Milan game tomorrow?" He goes, no thanks. I'll watch the NFL instead, which is hilarious. Just completely
legend.
disregarding them. Um, it was yeah, it's so funny. I'm starting to like him more and more. And he takes all of these press conferences. He doesn't shy away from them as well. It's good to see. It's really nice. Um, and then another thing, again, I think this speaks to your point of the vibes of the team are improving with Kivu. He is a serious guy, and we see that on the touchline. I think
Hmm.
he's very calm, and the time that I've seen him lose his head is when Pio scored, and he just absolutely went ballistic
That
on just
gift
a,
is
like a
amazing. Yeah,
yeah, it's gonna be used a lot. It's gonna be great. Um, but he mentions in the post-match conference, he says, "For once, I'll take credit for the good things that we did. We were dominant. We had fun. We had the right attitude. We counterattacked well, and scored under pressure." And then they mentioned conceding to him. And he said, "Conceding at the end? Okay, never mind. I'll take credit for 85 minutes of quality and aggression, just poking at the players and making fun of like no, I'm only going to take credit for the good stuff. I'm not going to take that's on the players that the team conceded." But he goes, yeah, I'm happy for this group, which is awesome. It seems they're responding to him. uh, but yeah, You have any thoughts on those?
No, it's good. It's better than Inzaghi. Definitely, it's better than what we've heard from Inzaghi the last few years in terms
Ma
of
io penso che ma io penso che
yeah, it's always the same monotone, repetitive, media trained nonsense that we were hearing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying Kiva's the complete opposite. He's not like, you know, like a James Madison or, those type of guys that will literally just, or like what's his name? Marcus Edwards, the guy that used to play for Sporting, that just have no media training whatsoever. I
Mhm.
love that as well. But he's not that. He's just calm. Like, he just doesn't overcomplicate things. Says it how it is. Doesn't sugarcoat things. Like, yes, you can tell he's obviously being media trained to some extent to not say
Mhm.
anything like out of line with
Yeah,
what the
protecting
club is
the
telling.
players,
But
the
yeah, but
club,
that we
yeah.
need to keep that in mind. I feel like whoever, no matter who the manager is, unless it's Mourinho, because Mourinho says whatever the hell he wants. Any
Yeah.
other manager is being told to say certain things
Mhm.
based on whatever the club thinks is right to say in certain moments, even after a loss and stuff. So,
Mhm.
I like it. I like him.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, if we wanna move on to the Loney report, we didn't see much, anything exciting this past weekend, but I do wanna mention Ebenezer Akinsadimiro again started for Pisa, had another good game this past weekend. Um, I wanna make sure that I have the team right that they played. Yeah, against Bologna, they lost, but he still had a great game, and he's starting to look like that's right. They struggled because they went down a man um,
Correct.
early in the game. So even struggling with that, I know that the rating apps aren't going to give them much credit, but I watched a little bit of it and I watched a little bit of him, and he
Okay.
still is quality on the ball and doesn't look out of place. The only thing that I hope that he does is add a little bit of weight this season. He can take the full, the next 6, 7 months to do it. But if he can add a little bit of weight to his frame and not slow down, keep his technical ability, there's another player there
Do you
with
know how
physical
tall he is?
capabilities. I think he's like right at 6 feet. I don't think that he has, special height, um, which is 184.
Yeah, he's 6 foot. He's as tall as me. Yeah, he's 6 foot.
Yeah. Um, what is that in centimeters?
183,
Uh,
184.
What do you think?
So
Yeah,
he's
that's what I
184.
thought. Yeah. Um, yeah, so that's it's good. He's got a good frame.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for him.
Yeah, especially
Uh,
also, I definitely think after the first, like, what, 6 weeks of Serie A, you can definitely tell that he's ready. Because that was also something where people were, you know, he came from, okay, he played well, but he came from a Sampdoria side that was basically relegated, right? From Serie B. And then you slot him into a newly promoted Pisa side with also, like, a lot of new players arriving, which is never easy to fix, like, slot into a new team with a lot of new faces.
mhm.
But he's doing it effortlessly, and I feel like it's working.
Yeah. Yeah, so I recommend all of you listening to continue to watch him if you can and keep an eye on him. I think there's a player there. He might go on loan for another season because we do have 7 midfielders. We're probably going to have 8 to 9 midfielders next season when July rolls around. We have to find a place for a lot of them to go and leave. But yeah, keep an eye on him. Uh, he's gonna be something. He's gonna be a Serie A regular, that's for sure. If all else fails. But
Yeah,
yeah, of
I also want to mention someone because I have the
course.
tweet put up right here, guys. It is in Italian, but I will translate it for you guys. So Fabio Lampi, who's like the main guy on the inter youth sector when it comes to journalism, has tweeted. This was actually a week ago about Giacomo De Pieri, one of our loanees, who obviously moved to Serie B and opted out of staying with the under 23 side, who obviously are a tier lower. And he's there together with Giacomo Stabile, who is a regular starter, I think, for Juve Stabia. But unfortunately for De Pieri, is not going as well. So Alampi has said the choice of not staying with Inter under 23 and skipping Serie G basically has not necessarily turned out well for Giacomo De Pieri, who has only played 70 minutes in total in the first 6 game weeks with Juve Stabia. And the last 4 games, he was on the bench and didn't see any minutes whatsoever. Now, I have to say this, after that tweet, the game after, he played 15 minutes. So they're definitely sitting there saying,
Huge
actually,
minutes.
yeah, huge minutes, guys. But they're definitely sitting there saying, no, guys, we are playing him. Don't worry about it. But there's also the question was asked underneath if he could possibly return in January and maybe stay with the under 23 side for 6 months. And Alampi basically said very little chances of that happening, but not impossible, obviously, because you never know. But this is very disappointing. If I'm him, like, you're thinking, oh, I could have stayed with the under 23 team, have some success, as we can see, the under 23 team is slowly, but surely, becoming a strong squad.
Mm-hmm.
And, maybe it would
He'd
be
be
smart to
playing.
come back in January.
Yeah, he'd be playing that Kamate role. So
Pretty
that's
much.
kind of where he would be playing.
Pretty much, yeah.
So it would be a little bit of a detriment to him, but yeah, game time is more important than who you're playing against, as long as it's against senior squad players. I know some people would say Serie D is not, you don't want to be doing the semi pros at that level, but
Yeah.
still, getting game time, gaining confidence. Gatti went straight from Serie C to Juventus. So, like, if you've
There's
if you've got
examples,
the
yeah.
ability, yeah, if you've got the ability and you have the club believe in you, then there's no reason why you can't make that jump. So, um, yeah, hopefully it gets sorted out. There's no reason why he shouldn't be playing. I understand if Juve Stabia want to get promoted as soon as possible, it would make sense. Maybe they don't have the patience, but they just got promoted to Serie B, so
Yeah,
um,
difficult, but
yeah,
still.
so we'll see.
Also, next up, I want to talk about since it is international break, like I said at the start, I want to talk about the players that did get called up for this international break. Now, today is basically the first match day, the first few games for all the different Inter players. The first thing I want to mention is the Under 20 World Cup. Now, obviously, I'm still watching. Italy are still losing 1-0 against the US. And Mosconi got subbed off in like the 60th minute, and Idrisu got subbed off at half time. So I don't think they had the greatest of games, but I didn't actually catch the first half, so I couldn't tell you. It's still 1-0 in
Yeah,
the 78th minute. But like I mentioned, Jamal Idrisu, who plays for the Primavera squad, is called up, and Mattia Mosconi, who I don't think has played for the under 20 or under 21s before, that is his first call up to basically that level.
yeah,
And
he's 17 or 18 right now.
yeah, they're both young. I think Mosconi's like
Yeah,
2007,
he's
and
17. I know he is.
Idrisu is as well, or is he 2008? One of the two. Basically, they're both very young, and I think they're both with under 20s for the first time,
Mhm.
which is good to see. But clearly, the impact isn't, Idrisu got sent. I mean, he scored, but he got sent off as well. In
Yeah,
I forgot which game it was. So
that's what happens with
yeah,
young
but in
players.
terms of other call ups, so they're called up for the Under 20 World Cup, and now this is obviously the round of 16 that is currently going on. And the US just scored, which means Italy are probably out. So 2-0 to the US. So much on that. And then other call ups, let's start from the top. Italy, obviously Bastoni, Di Marco, Pio Esposito, Barella, and Fratesi are all called up for Italy. Jan Bissek was not called up for Germany, which is interesting. But obviously he hasn't also played as much, so it makes sense, kind
Yeah.
of. And then Petar Sucic, obviously called up for Croatia, just played 90 minutes against the Czech Republic. Denzel Dumfries and Stefan De Vrij, as per usual, called up for the Dutch national team. Akanji, called up for Switzerland. He is a regular starter for Switzerland. Marcus Thuram is obviously injured, so not called up for France. Çalhanoğlu, as per usual, captaining Turkey. And Piotr Zielinski has started to captain Poland because I don't think Lewandowski was at the game today. And then Lautaro Martinez has 2 friendlies with Argentina, but we'll get into the second game a bit later because there's been some changes. Hopefully, you get some rest as well. And then one exciting thing that I do want to mention is Carlos Augusto, who got called up to the Brazilian national team for the first time in a while, which is great to see. Obviously, eventually, it would be great to see Luis Enrique be called up as well, because we know that Brazil and their wingback situation is not the greatest. However, it's good to see Carlos Augusto being called up. That's a great sign.
He
And
deserves it.
he deserves it, massively deserved. And obviously, Ancelotti, I'm sure, watches more Serie A than previous Brazil managers, so
Mhm.
it's definitely good to see. And in terms of under 23 players and Primavera players, obviously we have Christos Alexio, who was the Primavera captain last season, who got called up for the Greek national team, Greek under 21 national team. And Luka Topalovic, as per usual with Slovenia's under 21, and Antonio David is playing for Romania's under 21. So that's already 3 players, and then Mosconi obviously from the is with Italy under 20. And then Matteo Cocchi's with Italy's under 19. They have 2 friendly games against Scotland under 19. And also Filippo Cepelletti, who's from the Primavera, but you get the point. So 5 players missing from the under 23 team, which is basically too many. And that's why they've said they postpone the game against Renata. And then Andrea Vukoya, who is the new signing from the summer, the young Montenegro international, Montenegro under 19 international. He is playing in this break as well, called up, and has 2 friendlies against North Macedonia under 19. He played one today already, played the 490, no, played like 70 minutes something, and it was a 0-0 draw. So much on that. And then in terms of loanees, obviously Valentin Carboni did not make it to Argentina's national team. Christian Aslani is called up to Albania's national team, and they have 2 games as well. And Benjamin Pavard is not called up to the French national team. I wonder if the move to Marseille has kind of hindered him being called up regularly now, just because it's the French league, which is very interesting. But yeah, so much on
Yeah, and
internationals.
they've got so many players.
Oh, of
So
course, yeah.
uh,
But yeah,
yeah, that's nice. It's a lot of players, you know. We're not called Internazionale for a reason, you know.
exactly.
Well, the next we can if you want, we can do a little bit, just a quick 2-month roundup. You know, the like the first since yeah, it's first 2 months of the season. If you want to give a roundup of how you think all these teams are doing, how the club is doing as a whole, and maybe a player or two, just your general thoughts. Like, do you have good feelings about where the team is going?
I mean, yeah, I don't have too much to say. I think I said a lot of it already in terms of especially Chivu being the manager. I like what's going on. You know, that might change again in a month. Um, the busy run of games that is coming up, the busy schedule, it might change a lot of the, fluidity to our game that we have right now. But specifically for what we've seen change in the last 4 or 5 weeks, it's positive, yeah. And in terms of the whole two
Yeah.
months, obviously, you kind of have to take the recent increase in form into consideration. It's looking good. I also like what I'm seeing in the under 23 side. They also had kind of a turnaround compared to like I say compared to the first team. Just like the first team, they also turned the start of the season around a little bit. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's good. Anything you want to mention?
Yeah. I think yeah, just echoing all of that. I'm really I really appreciate I'm appreciating more Inter's ability to bring in younger players. Kivu has not thrown them to the wolves yet, right? We all think that Sucic could play more and probably should play more, but what
Yes, that's
Kivu's
one
doing,
thing for sure. Yeah.
protecting him, I think is what he's trying to do. Same thing with Pio a little bit. Like we do have 2 incredible strikers in front of him, but people would probably like, no, you play him more, play him more, play him more. But he's putting them on in the right situations at the moment, and they have the energy coming off the bench to keep up with the way that Kivu wants to play. And I think
Yes.
that that's huge. And so I've really, really enjoyed that part of the team. And I just, yeah, long may it continue. So that's all I had. And or yeah, there's one more thing. This is the international break came. The last one probably came at a bad time. I think this one came at a bad time as well for a different reason. So
Yes.
hopefully we don't have to turn things around like we did last international break. I'm hoping this time we just keep the ball rolling.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, but now we're gonna move into more of the team news, more of the business aspect and the administrative aspect of Inter. Um, so first thing we want to talk about is Inter for the first time in the club's history, according to my knowledge, is that we have ever finished a financial year with a profit. So we have here, um, yeah, the you've got the tweet pulled up.
Yeah, you want to read it? Like, I have it pulled up.
Yeah, I can read it. I got it here. So yeah, financial results for last season, 567 million in revenue. Now, of course, everybody Inter spends a lot of that. It's not just transfers that can go to. We don't have 567 million of transfer money to use.
Imagine that would be the career mode money boost that you get.
Right? Exactly. Um, yeah, the highest ever for Inter and for Serie A teams. Now, that has a lot to do with how much money is in the sport today and how much we got from the Champions League run last season. But it also has to do with how much our fans are at the stadium and how well we're doing on the business aspect of things and
Also, the
sponsors
Club
and
World
everything.
Cup, which has never been but there before,
That's right.
is
That
also
as well. That
manipulates
really
this
helps.
whole statistic.
So, yeah, in the end, the financial statements closed with a net profit of around 35 million compared to a 35 million loss from last season.
Yes.
Um, and so, yeah, in the end, basically what this is saying is that yes, we do have the performance bonuses with the club, with the Club World Cup, with the Champions League, but overall, this puts the club in a good position to be able to take not as good seasons on. Like there's still stuff going on in the background, um, where even if we don't make the Champions League final and we only go to a round of 16 and we don't have that extra, what is it? It's probably 30, 40 million from there on out that we don't get.
Yeah.
The club can still handle that,
Yeah.
right? Not having the Club World Cup, the club can still handle that, which is also a huge step forward in Oak Tree being able to sell the club, which I
Which we
know is
talked
what a
about
lot of
last
people
week.
want.
Yes.
Yeah. So, huge things there. And in addition to this, so this is another huge thing. We mentioned that Inter and Milan are
Stadium.
finally able to
Yes.
buy the stadium. If you guys subscribe to the Italian Football Podcast, you would have listened to Nima mention a little bit more of the financial aspect of the stadium. It is not only will owning the stadium, even the San Siro is going to boost a little bit more to the club. So they don't have to pay the city of Milano anymore to
Do you know
like split.
how much that was to pay the city?
So it's not finalized yet, but
No,
their
like
number
in
is.
terms of like renting.
Oh, I don't know those numbers.
Oh,
No.
okay.
That would be something that, maybe we could figure out, tweet it out. But
Yeah.
basically we don't have to split the money that is earned because also like the surrounding areas is owned by the city.
Yes.
So like that stuff, I don't know how much of that even goes or any of it goes to the clubs. Of course, the ticket revenue goes to the clubs and then they will pay the city. But owning the San Siro is already going to be a boost in that financial statement. So we don't have to split that. We bring in that revenue. It's just split 50-50 with Milan. Um, I mean, of course, we get our match revenue, they get their match revenue. But we have a tweet from 4 years ago. This is just giving you an idea. So the last time that Inter actually made any serious movements towards the stadium, so this is when they had the two ideas of which stadiums they wanted to do, and which projects. But talking about how strictly for like ticket revenue, stadium revenue, going to games and things, that they could bring in 40 million per year per club. And then
Yes.
a totally new stadium, once it gets all of its stuff together, and they Inter and Milan can do concerts, museums, like other tourist attractions when it comes to the stadium, can bring up to 120 million per year
Just triple the
per
amount,
club. Yeah.
basically. I just wanted to mention, I love how it says should open in 2025 on that tweet. Because this was 4 years ago, basically on the dot. And then the aim was to finish this by now.
Yeah. No,
Kind of
that's
ironic
that
now that we're looking at it.
yeah. Yeah. It is funny. Well, I mean, I guess guys, keep that in mind. They want to build it by 2031 so that they can have it for the Euros, for the 2032 Euros. So
Mhm.
maybe, the sooner they start, maybe they could finish it by 2029, 2030. We're actually at the point that we can start talking about these things, which is great. And then on the Italian football podcast, Nima mentioned when talking about this, they got a question on their Q&A pod that the clubs, I believe Beppe Marotta said somewhere, not recently, but that this alone could bring in 80 to 100 million per year for each club. And so that's just
Yes.
revenue. Again, this is not, that means that can go to keeping the stadium clean and fresh, to contracts, to transfers. It's just revenue. It doesn't mean that it's 80 million in profit. So just keep that in mind. But whatever those numbers are, like even if we want to do the lowest number there of 80 million, that's awesome. I'm loving that.
It's better than
You know?
what's going on right now, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, one thing that I want to ask is, do you know how much like total revenue um, some of the other clubs in some of the other top clubs in Europe are making? I know that they come out with this stuff every year.
No, I know, yeah, but I'm not a finance bro. I don't, I couldn't tell you, you're asking the wrong person here.
Well, yeah, I'm just thinking of like 80 million goes a long way with Inter competing with top European clubs in
Yeah,
their
it's
budgets
definitely a
and their
step, a
salaries.
good starting point to start catching up. That's for sure.
And in my opinion, a new stadium brings in new sponsors. People want to come to that stadium. They want to have their name attached to that stadium. You know, something new and fresh. The San Siro is historic. I wish there was a way to keep it, but y- yeah, just like the Colosseum, sometimes you have to build something new. Like Italy hasn't stopped building buildings all of a sudden. They're not living in the same infrastructure from the Roman Empire at the turn of the eras. So, um, yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
I'm really happy about that.
yeah. Moving on, guys, I want to talk about something that is regarding the San Siro still, and this is the Questura di Milano, which is basically like the provincial office or whatever you want to call it of the police. They have approved the use of flags and banners in the Seconda Anello Verde, which is obviously the where the ultras sit, which is like here if you're watching on YouTube, and the section where obviously Inter's ultras are. And they are expected to return against Fiorentina at the end of October, which is great news, and should bring some more noise to the stadium again. Because if you've been wondering, if you've been watching the home games and you've been wondering what's going on, why is it so quiet? Yeah, that was basically the case. But they should come back in the next home match.
Yeah, thank goodness. Sooner the better. Um, yeah, and then do you want to go ahead and just finish out all the transfer news that we have
Yeah, of course.
for
So, first of all, we've had a few tweets on this, but obviously the main tweet is basically confirmation, right? Like unofficial confirmation that Manuel Akanji will be redeemed by Inter. That 15 million, was it 50 million?
Yeah.
Buy option that we have from Manchester City is going to be redeemed, and he has integrated into the squad seamlessly. I think we didn't need a journalist to confirm that because he has just looked like he's been playing in this defensive line for years. And obviously he's experienced, so you kind of expect it, but even then, I'm still impressed, and I think you are as well. And so that's been a great addition to the squad. And then we've had two rumors, one player specifically about Thomas got the flag wrong here. He's actually Bosnian. About Jay Itzes, who's obviously Indonesian international, and Tarek Murajovic, who is Bosnian international, who are both playing for Sassuolo and are rumored to replace either De Vrij or Acerbi, but it's looking more likely for Francesco Acerbi to be replaced, even though we did also have some news that both might leave next summer, which I personally wouldn't think is a good idea. I feel like Stefan De Vrij can stay for another 1-2 seasons in order for someone to learn under him. Francesco Acerbi has been overdue to leave, but, you know,
Yeah.
the Pasquale Guerrero says that
Also,
it is one talent that Inter will invest in, and then one established defender to replace the second defender if both De Vrij and Acerbi leave,
yeah.
which is
So
basically the
now,
whole
what you
moral of the point.
what you just mentioned there. So Thomas got Inzaghi fired and ruined the Champions League final last season,
Yes.
and now he's going to start a Balkan war.
I mean, look, like there's a lot of things that have probably happened on this earth that Thomas has negatively contributed to by his tweets, but I can't say too much because I'm going to get fired. Anyway, guys, next up is Noah Atubolu, who is Freiburg's goalkeeper, 23 years old, and considered to be a good talent, especially in terms of, you know, the Germans love their goalkeeper position with Manuel Neuer, obviously, so they're looking to keep that up. Their next best option is Marc-Andre ter Stegen, so they're not really trying to downgrade too much. And one of their talents is, with all due respect to ter Stegen, of course, but we know the memes. Noah Atubolu, who is, yeah, like I said, 23 years old, and Inter apparently exploring a deal to sign the goalkeeper, which is a player to keep an eye out for, probably not the winter, but probably the summer transfer window. I don't really know how this will make sense with Josep Martinez being there, because I don't think he wants to settle to be backup goalkeeper. But you never know. We'll see how this goes for next summer. But yeah, I think that's.
I've only seen a couple things on him. So one, that he might have a release clause, and then
Okay.
he is the option if Josep Martinez doesn't convince this season.
Okay.
So whatever that means. He's also 4 years younger than Josep Martinez, so
Of course, so
he
maybe it's
is.
an investment, but then would Atubolu want to sit on the bench? That's the question. I don't think so.
Yeah, yeah. Who knows? We'll see. These are November, October rumors for next summer. We know how crisp those rumors are every year.
Yeah. And then next up, guys, we just want to finish off with. Well, first of all, I want to actually mention this, guys. So, like I said, Lautaro Martinez is on international duty with Argentina. They have a friendly against Venezuela, which is tomorrow, I believe. Tomorrow night. And then, so Friday night. And then they were supposed to have another friendly against Puerto Rico on the 13th of October. So, nighttime / 2 a.m. in Central European time. But this has now been postponed and moved to a different location as well, to a day after, which will be played at Inter Miami Stadium in Fort Lauderdale, which is going to be delaying the return of our captain, which means he was supposed to come back on Tuesday. Forget what this says. This is wrong. He was supposed to come back on Tuesday anyway, because the game that he was supposed to play was on the 13th in the evening, so he was supposed to come back on the 14th. But he's not going to come back on the 15th because the game is going to be played on the 14th in the evening. So with this being the case, and obviously Marcus Thuram being injured, it is possible that Andrian Boni and Pio Esposito could start together against Roma on the 18th of October, which would obviously also give Lautaro a rest for the Champions League game against Saint-Gilloise, which is coming up during the week. So yeah, that's the situation with that. I doubt Lautaro will start now that this game has moved back a day, because he'll barely even get a day of training when he comes back, and he'll be jet lagged as hell. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was the first time we see Andrian Boni and Pio Esposito start together, which is great to see. And then finally, guys, we have a friendly coming up, which is tomorrow, which is Inter facing off against Atletico Madrid in Libya, of all places, to basically, I think, open their new stadium, their new national stadium that they've built.
Cool.
I think that's the case with this, and obviously, you know, there's probably a bunch of money involved in terms of opening the whole place, finding two teams that, you know, two teams that are worthy of opening a new stadium. So it is pretty cool to see, but also good to see maybe some players that haven't gotten as much game time. I'm looking at Thomas Palacios, I'm looking at, you know, Zielinski. Well, Zielinski's on international duty actually. Maybe Jan Bissek. Those kind of players that have just not really been playing as much. Maybe some under 23 players as well, because they obviously got their game moved, so that's good, so they can travel there. And yeah, Chivu did say that it was going to be a mix of both under 23 and first team players, so it's going to be a good test. And yeah, unless you have anything else to add, Sean, I will let you sign off.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you guys for listening and staying with us this long. Of course, don't forget to go follow us at Inter Extra on YouTube, and then at Inter_Extra on Twitter. And then please hit the like button, subscribe, share this video with some friends, make some new Interisti, and then hit the bell icon to make sure that you're notified. If you're listening to us on Spotify, Amazon Music, or Apple Podcast, again, comment, 5-star rating, share, do all the things. Let us know if we missed anything that you wanted us to talk about. See if we can, so we don't miss any Inter news. And as of course, we like to finish Forza Inter Sempre.
Forza.